My name is Mina, and today I want to talk about the art of saying no. It is harder than it sounds like. So, studying the history, we see lots of rough events, the wars and the mass genocide. And when we think about it, when we imagine ourselves in those situations, we think if we were there, we would do the good. We would stand in the right side for sure. But would we? Because when we study about it, we see that the people who did those stuff, they were not the devils. They were the ordinary people. But some transformation made them to do those crimes. But what was the reason? Why did they 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 did those stuff? So Christopher Browning in his book, Ordinary Men, talks about the Reserve Police Battalion 101, Nazi Germany. He says that the soldiers there were the working class. They had the jobs like truck driver, port worker, waiters. They were middle-aged, 39 years old. And when they found out about their duty in the war, their duty was to kill the Jews in the villages, go find them, search for them, find them and kill them, or send them to concentration camps. When they found out about their duty, they had the chance to say no. So I'm gonna emphasize here, they had the chance to say no without any penalty. They could say no. They could withdraw the mission, but only 20% said no, and the rest continued. Why? So why did not they say no? That's a question that scientists try to answer after. Such an unaccepted behavior, it's not only observed in rough events like wars. 1961, Stanley Milgram designed an experiment to study about these behaviors. He published an advertisement in the newspaper asking for volunteers and paying them $4 per hour, which was equal to $32 in today's rate. The volunteers were told that this is a scientific study on memory and learning. So those volunteers were supposed to be teachers teaching some words to their students. They were staying behind a window and they had some electrical shocking machine. Whenever their students were giving them the wrong answer, they were pushing a button and giving them electrical shock. The first one answered 15 volts, the second one 30 volts, 45. The last one 450 volts, which gives the student the risk of death. So obviously the students were not in any danger, they were just playing a role, but the participants did not know about it. 26 out of the 40 volunteers continued and finished the instruction, even though reluctantly, but the students were yelling of pain and begging them to stop. They were saying that I have a heart problem or whatever. They finished the experiment and they tortured the students. So 26 out of the 40 is more than 50%. 10 years after the Stanley Milgram's experiment, another experiment was done by Dr. Philip Zimbardo at Stanford University. This one was not randomly selected. This one was intentionally selected. They were all physically and mentally healthy, background checked and cleared. They were middle class college students, 24 participants. By flipping a coin, they decided if they are gonna be the prisoners or the guards. 12 prisoners, 12 guards, and the experiment was supposed to be 2 weeks long. They had to cut it down after only 6 days because the guards were torturing the prisoners and the prisoners were passively accepting it. And they were also encouraging the guards were encouraging the prisoners to harassing and abusing each other, the peers, and they were accepting it. They were not saying no to it. They were accepting it. So both these experiments shows us a hidden aspect of human behavior, which is known as authoritarian personality. This personality is characterized by the extreme obedience and respect for the submission. We all have it in some degrees, but only the one with higher degrees are exposed to some disorders like invasion, the ones out of their own group, or following some values which is without questioning it. So we don't need to go through the history, because the examples are always there. Whenever there's a protest, there are two groups, the protesters and the ones that support it. If we stay somewhere passively and watch it, or if we go get out of our skin, we are saying no to one of these groups, no matter what. But saying no, the history is telling us, the history and both scientific studies are telling us that saying no is not as easy as we think. Why not? Because the lack of knowledge. So whatever our field of study is, we need to have some primary knowledge of the sociology and history. But surprisingly, even having the knowledge is not enough. After having the knowledge, we need to practice it, because there are lots of times that we mean to say no, but the word that comes out of our mouth is yes. We accept it, even though we don't mean it. So Dr. Susanna Newman, in her book, the book of saying no, 200 ways to say no and mean it and stop people pleasing, says that kids don't have a hard time saying no to their parents. They always say no, and that's all they do. But somehow, growing up, we learn to say yes all the time, because we don't want to sound unpleasant, selfish, uncaring, and lazy. So we learn to say yes, yes, yes all the time. And that's how that saying yes becomes a habit of us, and that habit becomes an addiction. Dr. Karen Aviv, in her TED Talk, teaches us some steps to how walk out of this addiction. First, we should know that we always have a range of options, and one of those options is saying no. And when we decide to say no to something, we should not feel bad, we should not feel sorry, and we should not apologize, because when we are saying no, we are being true to ourselves. So when we want to say no, it's important to be polite, but we should stop being nice, because when we want to be nice, we are thinking about the acceptance and approval, and those are the factors that make us being addicted to saying yes. And if we are unsure about something, we can take our time. We can say that we are gonna sleep on it and we are gonna get back to them in 24 hours. And when we finally learn how to say no, we also learn to say yes when we really mean it. And then that would bring clarity, intention, and motivation to our work. So to wrap up my work, I believe that it is necessary to improve ourselves about the rationality and both rationally and emotionally to say no when it is the right thing to do, the right option. So I want to finish it with a poem from Martin Niemöller. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist. I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews. I did not speak out because I was not a trade Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Good job.
I think your speech was very good. It was very informational, and you seemed very passionate about it. It was also very well spoken.
Thank you.
At first, I thought that because of your topic, there will be not a lot of information for you to cover on. But yeah, you have done a very good job on explaining the history, even the political history behind the art of saying no and why saying yes and saying no can affect to the whole situation and can lead everything to another destination or direction. And I also like the way you including the poem in your last slide, which is real is can be used as very affection, can very like uh, an affection way to end your speech as a way to having a very affection conclusion. So yeah, thank you. You have done a good job.
Yeah, I agree. And like you said with the last poem that you read, I think it wrapped it up really well, and I think it fit really well, and it did have a good effect, a lasting effect. And I would just say at first it was a little confusing what I was like being persuaded on, if that makes sense. But once you got into your evidence and the Stanford experiment and then the psychology behind why saying no is hard, it made sense. But it did make sense. But in the intro, I would maybe just clarify that a little bit more. But overall, you spoke really well. The pace was really well. And the PowerPoint was clear. It was easy to read, easy to look at. So it was a really good job.
Thank you.
Is that me to go next or Brianna?
You can go next.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Oh, so hello everyone. So for my speech of today, I want to discuss and to persuade my classmates about the importance of having a financial stability and how it may affect to the success of college students before, during, and after graduation. So financial instability is one of the most common type of hardship that a lot of young people are facing in college, and that may affect their life in many different aspects to their health, to their happiness, and to their studying process. So there is a small research is done by the Gates Foundation asking the reason behind the dropout decision of some college students, and two highest responses are 70%, 71% of them saying that they need to drop out from college to get a job in the real life society. 52% of them cannot afford the college tuition and choose to drop out so they can pursue a work or a working job that does not require a degree. Besides that, in the United States, we are also facing a huge student loan debt crisis. So according to the Federal Reserve data, states there's a hopping about $1.5 trillion in the student loans, and marking the student loans the second largest household debt segment in the United States, beside the debt in mortgage. So, however, the financial hardship is not a problem that cannot be solved. Actually, it can be solved with the healthy money management and financial planning. Actually, college is a very perfect time for the young people to study and to be prepared in the world of finance and how to control their money properly. The first step, and also the easiest way to take on is to establish a basic budget on the expenses. The budget, the most common way to create a budget is to separate your monthly income or the money you have for every month into categories, and putting the money in the most essential categories like tuition, food, renting costs, transportation, and to the less essential or optional like partying or buying gifts, presents to another people. The second step is to consider having and building up an emergency fund. Savings or emergency fund is not a part of your monthly expenses, but it have to cover and to lift you up in the situation that you are not expected. Having an emergency fund, sorry, having an emergency fund can increase your financial confidence and have you to feel more secure. Then the standard emergency fund is normally ranked from 3 to 6 months of your monthly expenses. But as the student in college, normally we don't have that much. So try to aiming for at least $500 in the emergency funds. So it will be the better way to cover your money in the unexpected situations. The third steps to having a financial plan is thinking about to invest your money. A lot of people, when they think about investment, they may think that putting money in stock, buying gold or real estate, but actually the most important kind of investment that you can invest in yourself is to invest on your health. Being healthy is equal to having more productivity on your work and to study better. And for the student loan, which is quite debating, a lot of student loan is essential and is the way to keep you up staying in college. But student loans should be properly used and to distribute it in the smart way. And for the last way to having a stable financial statistic is to having a stable source of income, which is not suitable for a lot of people, is having a job. You can having a full-time, part-time, or seasonal job and applying for scholarships. But I understand that this step is not suitable for all people because people who may have a lot of they take a lot of classes and they are not able to work. So having a source of income can be a very efficient way to secure your income. Now, in conclusion, college even can be very hard to some people, and financial hardship could be the main factor that that decrease their confidence in finishing college. So having a financial plan or the stable financial statistic can help and can help people to go to the further direction of their study process. Thank you everyone for listening.
It was a very, very well done speech. I liked how you separated all the points and it was very clear.
Thank you.
I loved your PowerPoint. It was really had really good visuals in it, and I don't know why my screen looked blue, but and I think you spoke really clearly. And the intro, your topic and what you were going to convince us of was really clear. So I thought that was really good, and I liked how you did a step-by-step process. I think one thing you could add too is like how these steps could make your life better, or if you didn't do these steps, how they would make it worse, because that would then go into like why it's so important, and then which is what you talked about in your intro. But overall, I think you did a really good job.
Thank you for your suggestion.
Mina, you're muted if you're saying something.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, I was saying that I really enjoyed your presentation, and the body was very well organized. I learned a lot, and I forgot. Oh my god. Yeah, your presentation was very well done.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, your slides were very informative. The charts, the graphs, they were really informative, and yeah, it was really persuasive and very well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Am I ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't have a visual because it's not done yet, and kind of feel like I chose the wrong photos. But I only have like two slides. Some problem. I'm just not gonna use it at the moment. So I'll go with my speech. Do that too. So as Dr. Valerie Salimpour once said, in every single culture as far back as the history has been recorded, people have enjoyed music. And I'm here to persuade you that music is the most efficient way to loosen yourself or release stress. Music has the ability to evoke powerful emotional responses such as chills and thrills within listeners. I know there are other ways to calm yourself down, like meditation or taking a nap or even doing yoga or watching a movie, but I'm here to persuade you that music is definitely number one on the list. Positive emotions specifically will dominate musical experiences. So many people like to listen to music, whether they're sad, happy, want to have fun, want to party, maybe they feel a certain way, there's always certain music to help you get through that. There are studies that show that people actually listen to music that portrays the way that they're feeling. Maybe it could help them think about things. Like you can enjoy some deep thinking time on your own with the music. You don't have to talk to someone, and it could possibly even release the stress that's on your mind. So the music may lead to the release of neurotransmitters that are associated with a reward such as dopamine or even serotonin. It's just happy chemicals that you feel usually in music. So I'm here to tell you that what music can do and what emotions you can feel and why it's the most effective. So music releases chemicals such as dopamine and serotonin, specifically dopamine. It is a chemical that allows you to feel more relief and alter your mood in a way. It's similar to serotonin, but dopamine is more related to music in context wise. People listen to music every day to regulate and enhance their undesirable emotional states. Evidence has also shown that an aesthetic stimulus such as music can naturally target the dopamine systems of the brain, which are typically involved in highly reinforcing and addictive behaviors. In one study, participants actually listened to their favorite songs after taking a specific drug that's used for treating addiction disorders. The researchers found that the study that subjects took that drug was reported that their favorite songs were no longer pleasurable, which is another way to say that using that music can practically be an addiction. Listening to your favorite songs in specific. So music helps people relieve stress, and I can say in most cases that it does help me as well. People would often take late night drives and listen to music, whether they're feeling down or feeling happy or just want to be themselves. And I'm sure many of you can agree that music has helped you in some way or another throughout your life. Obviously, the most used music app or way to listen to music is Spotify. And I'm sure many people have noticed that Spotify has been very, very common. And many, despite having to, they even like make your own playlist depending on the songs that you listen to. And there are millions upon billions of songs that are related to those that you listen to. And even have categories that specify which moods you may feel. Say you want to feel sad or want to have songs that relate to your emotion. It may also lead to making you feel better. As for other ways that you can loosen up, they may have the same effect depending on the person, such as meditation. It can allow you to feel more relaxed and quiet in a quiet place, or yoga can release stress or tension from certain parts of your body. But I would say that music is more impactful to your brain and your mental thoughts, such as relating to the dopamine. It's more effective in a way that it's pretty accessible to everyone. There's the radio, there's your phone, you have YouTube and Spotify and SoundCloud and all those other platforms that you can use to listen to music. I hope that you're able to understand why music is the biggest part about anyone's life. And I'm sure that most of you have used music to relieve stress. And I hope this persuaded you to believe that music, in comparison to other stress relief techniques, that music is the most effective one. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. I think that your intro was really good in explaining what you were going to cover and what you were going to persuade us, and it was super clear. And all the points that you made went right along with that and were well organized and were also clear, and made sense and were good evidence to back that up. And the point about accessibility, as well as like the psychological, like it releases good hormones, things like that, they were all good. I think the only thing is to quote more of your sources that you have, because I know in my last speech that's something that I lost points on personally. So I think that is the only thing, and other than that, I think it was really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, even though there's no visual aid or PowerPoint on the points that you are making, sounds really clear and really persuasive to me. And as I noticed that your persuasive speech has some connection to your informative speech, right? The last one you were talking about the mental illness and the stress. And in this one, how to relieve the stress by music, I apparently can see the connection, and I think it means something to you, so you are speaking really good on it.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed your presentation. Thank you. I was going to say the exact same thing that Alison said. In my last presentation, I mentioned 3 sources, but I still lost credit for sources. I don't know why. So it's gonna be good if for your presentation, you mentioned your sources, how music is gonna be more effective rather than like meditation, for example. And when we are talking about music, like comparing the musics, when we are talking about music, like what type of music, like heavy metal or classical, they're gonna be really different. So like a comparison is gonna be also a good idea. It's gonna make it more controversial, you know, it's because
Yeah,
it should be
I see.
controversial. Yeah, but thank you. You did a good job.